Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is Christmas Eve, so I hope you guys are geared up and ready for tomorrow. Hope y'all are having a good time and seeing family and whatnot. In the last video I did, I talked about a little bit about ordering some retting dies for the 6.5 PRC. So they're here. Got the retting dies, and this is what you get with the Master Hunter set. I know it's reversed on you, sorry. That's the way I'm filming it. But these are the Master Hunter die set. Doesn't come with a shell holder. Doesn't come with any paperwork. It does come with a little tool thing here and an extra decapping pin. And then, of course, there are the dies. So, upon the first look at this set of dies, I was a little bit kind of disappointed, but I'm gonna try to not take everything by the looks on them and just see how they function eventually. Now, I'm not ready to reload these yet because I've still got a bunch of 6.5 Creedmoor I'm trying to finish up. So I've never had a die with a micrometer adjustment for bullet seating. This thing it's got a really heavy spring in there, and I guess you adjust this for the seating of the bullet. Yeah, I don't know. The one thing that I did notice that I'm like, all right, you guys, there's no paperwork in here. So with most other die sets like Hornady, Lee, even RCBS, they come with paperwork typically, kind of telling you how to set the die up. And for the most part, they're generally about the same setup. But these retting dies did not come with any paperwork. And I ordered these from Midway, so I was hoping that, ordering them from Midway and not like Amazon, that, I would get a set of dies that had never been opened and, it would have all the paperwork and everything. But I don't know. I've never owned retting dies before. The only thing I noticed is there's no paperwork. There was quite a bit of machining gunk on these when I first opened the box when they came in. It's kind of like they, come right out of the machine and then they didn't like clean them up or something. They just stuck them in the box. So I don't know. That to me, I was going, it's kind of not speaking well for the, I guess, pride that goes into manufacturing something, especially a set of dies that are supposedly worth almost $300. Now, with the Lee dies that I've bought, I've never seen that issue. With Hornady dies, I've never had that problem with them coming in with gunk on them. So that was just initial, this is just initial observation. I haven't used them yet. I don't know how good they are. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make yet. But it's something I'm going to get into. I just wanted to give you guys my initial impression of these. And yes, I will say that the tactile feel of everything is smoother, super smooth, very, very well fitting. That's about all I can say. They're very well made. You can definitely tell once you take them apart and look at them and put them back together. Definitely well made. One other thing I got that came in was this little guy right here. Now this is going to come in handy at some point if I ever really get to start shooting long range. But I was looking at rangefinders, and I've been looking at rangefinders for a long time, and I just, couldn't make up my mind on one. And what I found out doing research with rangefinders is if you're going to buy a rangefinder and say you want to shoot 500 yards with it, or you want to be able to range targets out to 500 yards accurately. Well, it come to find out doing research is that there's kind of a common knowledge, a general knowledge that if you want to range something to a certain distance, you need to buy a rangefinder that's capable of ranging twice that distance. Okay, so if you're wanting to shoot 500 yards, you need to buy a 1,000 yard rangefinder. If you're wanting to shoot 1,000 yards, you need to buy a 2,000 yard rangefinder, and so on. So I started looking at the cost and differences and all that, and I come up with the conclusion that I might as well just go big or go home, because some of the shorter range rangefinders, really the cost wasn't much different than just going ahead and buying the big one. So this is a Vortex Razor HD 4,000 yard rangefinder, and it is friggin' cool. I will say that I've played around with this a little bit. We got some snow the other day. Actually, the day that it was delivered to me, we got some snow come in. And even within the snowfall, with the snow falling and heavy overcast clouds, dim light, I was able to range some stuff out to about 770 yards or so. I didn't have anywhere to like range something any further than that, but it had no problem. It was click and like instant result, instant reading, no issue at all. I was hoping I was going to get to play with it a little bit more today and actually give you guys a video on it outside and show you some stuff. It does not have any ballistic software in it. And that's one of the things, I would like to eventually buy something that has ballistic software in it. But it does do a couple things that are really handy. So it's got a couple modes. It's got an LOS mode, which is line of sight, and it will give you exact range in the direction you're looking, whether it's up or down or whatever, at any angle. Gives you the line of sight from your eyeball to whatever you're trying to range. Now, it has an HCD mode, which is horizontal or HDC, something like that. Horizontal, I don't know. It basically calculates if you're aiming at something that's up high or down low at an angle. When you range it, it will calculate based on the angle that you're holding the device. It will calculate the actual horizontal distance, and that's the mode you're going to want to set this thing on for shooting long range targets, because when you're using your ballistic dope charts, this is pretty interesting, but when you're using your ballistic dope charts, if you are shooting downhill, say 5 degrees or something over the course of 1,500 yards, and say your line of sight at the target from your eyeball to that target's 1,500 yards, but you're aimed 5 degrees down, well, the actual horizontal distance is going to be somewhere in the 1,300 yard range, and that is your actual horizontal distance, which is the actual distance that gravity is affecting the bullet. That's the actual distance that the bullet is actually being pulled down. And that is the distance you're going to want to use on your dope chart. Otherwise, if you use the 1,500 yard distance, because it says it's 1,500 yards away, well, you're going to overshoot your target by quite a bit. So previously in other videos, I kind of talked about this, being able to do the math and figure out what your actual horizontal distance is and how to calculate that and how to use it. But this kind of does it for you if you know what setting it's on. Now, that's something you're going to have to play with. If you get one of these, you're going to have to learn how to set it correctly. But you're going to want to make sure that that, say, okay, well, it's in line of sight. Well, then now if it's in line of sight and it's only ranging line of sight and it's not compensating for the angle you're aiming your rangefinder at, or the angle you're shooting up or down, if it's only ranging line of sight, you're going to need to know the degree so that you can do the math to calculate from line of sight to actual horizontal distance. Now this will give you, as long as you've got it set on HCD mode, it will give you actual horizontal distance and not line of sight distance. It will actually give you the horizontal distance to the target, and that is the distance that gravity is affecting the bullet, basically. Now, of course, you still got to deal with all the other things, because say you're shooting at a really extreme angle. Say you got a target that is line of sight 130 yards away, or well, we'll just get it out further. We'll say it's 1,000 yards away, but you're shooting at such an extreme angle that your horizontal range is only like 700 yards or 600 yards away. Now, your gravity is only affecting the bullet for 600 yards, but the bullet is technically still flying the extra 400 yards to the target, to the 1,000-yard mark line of sight, and so you've got things like your wind resistance is still affecting it for that extra 400 yards. Any wind that's out there blowing on the bullet is affecting it that far away. The temperature and humidity are still affecting it that far away past your horizontal drop chart. So it's pretty complicated how to do that, but this will help out, and it will simplify things. It takes one more, it simplifies things by taking one of those calculations out for you, so you don't have to, that's one less thing you got to compensate for, and one less thing you got to figure out and calculate for, which is really cool with that tool. So these are just tools for long range shooting, and I know Vortex on their website, they give that thing an MSRP of like $730, give or take, but you can find them for around $500 easily, and that's what I paid for mine, was $500. So if you guys are wondering, so I went ahead and bought it. It's one of those buy once, cry once things. I'm not going to buy a 1,000-yard rangefinder and then later on for a couple $100, and then later on be like, man, it's really not adequate enough for what I'm doing, and now I got to buy another one, that sort of thing. So it's a buy once, cry once kind of thing, and I've got it now. Don't have to worry about having to buy a better one down the road, because this is a 4,000-yard rangefinder, which means I can accurately shoot to about 2,000, 2,200 yards, give or take. So anyways, hope you guys like this video. Hope y'all have a Merry Christmas tomorrow. Have fun. Hope you guys get some cool new toys and gear out there. So we'll see you next time in the next video. Thanks for watching.